As tabletop hobbyists, we tend to collect and collect and collect, whether that's miniatures, hobby supplies, paint, especially paint. And paints come in such a different, weird range of sizes and bottles and shapes and, well, there's Games Workshop and then there's dropper bottles. But now there's people who store stuff with just pure chaos, just throw it all in a box and it's disgusting and you just sort your life out. There's people like me who use things like this. Now these are nail varnish racks. These are really good because they're clear. They're obviously like, they display them really nicely, which is quite good. Or they have like MDF equivalents, so MDF racks are quite popular. But what I've always found with racks like this is, one, the paints get dusty when you airbrush, because if you're airbrushing near it, then it collects dust. But also, they just take up so much space. Like, this takes up literally like half of my desk, and when you've got like 4 of these on the desk, it's actually ridiculous. And I won't stand for it. I guess I will stand for it. And this video is sponsored by Flexispot. So today I'm going to make the ultimate hobby storage system that's going to contain all of my paints. It's going to contain all of my varnishes, airbrush supplies. It's going to contain all of my basic material. So this is what it looks like now. As you can see, these are all the paints I use all the time because I use these nail racks. As you can see, I've actually got one. I got one on the floor as well. I use these nail racks. Reason being is I can have all my paints arranged in all colours and I can see them all. The problem is, as soon as I sit down, I can't actually reach over there. So I'm like stretching over it, and then what ends up happening is I just keep all the paints that I always use here, and that looks messy and silly and I can't find the paint I need. And then that's all there, just wasting space. And then all of this under here, like this is where I keep like my airbrushing stuff and then like basing stuff, and then this is where I just keep paperwork and stuff, and I don't really use it, so I'm going to get rid of this. Because I'm going to go from a thing that takes up all of my desk, so I have to work in a little stick-shift square. You know who you are. So we're going to have a drawer system, we're going to modify it with stuff from the hardware store, and we're going to go on a journey of Mikey using power tools. So first off, we need a base for our project, and I'm going to go with the Alex system from IKEA. Now, the problem is with rack systems is that you get paints that split like this, and then if they're like on a rack, on display, they obviously get sunlight all over them, and that actually just like starts to affect the medium, so they don't mix together properly, they just dry up. So going from a rack system to a drawer system is probably going to be better for shelf life of the paint. So this is a series of drawers, thin drawers, so I can get lots and lots of paints in there, because the thicker drawers obviously going to be wasting loads of space because they are like 5 centimeters tall, if that. But once we've found the drawer system, it doesn't have to be this one. You can use anything you like if you want to follow along. Oh, I'm a big manly man.
We didn't plan this through.
And then we're going to go to the hardware store so we can modify the drawers in there to actually have some organization. I don't know what I'm doing. It's exactly what I want. I prefer it like this. You can spray paint it?
So it's not exactly what you want.
I could spray paint it.
So then it could be exactly what you want. Oh my god, it's huge.
How long is it?
That's what she said.
Daddy.
Ew.
That might be better. I don't need it massive. Alright, now we're
Oh.
General Kenobi. So this will be good for the bottles, but the Citadel ones, they won't lie down because they're the blocking. So maybe a little bit of pine wood to like make slots.
How's it go?
It is very heavy.
Yeah.
You would struggle with it.
I'm a manly man.
The question is, are you going to read the instructions?
Yes, because I'm a professional. Oh my god, there's so much to do. So it's just a case of building the flat pack furniture as normal, but this particular unit has one fatal flaw. I believe it's for strength and integrity of the drawer, but I'm going to modify it. So I've got like 3 of the drawers stuck in. I'm probably not going to do much with these ones. That's probably just going to be like basing stuff, etc. But the top one, we're going to do multiple modifications. So I made a start. I tried doing it with PVA glue, it didn't work, but I'm going to use the balsa wood, the thin balsa wood, to make some like little strips for the for Citadel paint. So obviously, so they can sit in there. I put one balsa strip in the bottom already, just so when they do sit in, I can actually get my thumb into it to grab it. And since PVA already didn't work, I'm actually going to use my hot glue gun instead, because I think that'll hold it better. So the first modification is to make a rail system for the Citadel paints. Because they're quite stubby, they can stand up in a rail system. So I'm using the balsa wood and then using hot glue to glue it down. And this will keep them organized to stop them sliding around when I open and close the drawer. The other drawer for the the Vallejo paints, because they're too tall to stand up in this, I'm going to be using this angled, it's got a word, this thing, I can't remember what it's called. I'm going to be using the architrave as like an angled rest for it. This will keep the paint upright enough so I can see what's going on. It'll also keep the paint out of the dropper top so they don't clog, but also keep them low enough so the drawer actually closes, and again, so they don't move around. These drawers are great, I love them, but they do have a big problem, is that when you put the runners in, like the bottom ones here, they only come out this far, and this length is like what's wasted. It's almost 4 inches of space is wasted in the back of the drawer. So as soon as your parts start putting rows at the back, you actually can't access them. Now, I'm not going to modify the bottom 3 because I think I'm just going to be using this for like basing stuff, etc. But, for example, if I pull this one out this far, the top one I've actually modified so it comes out a lot further, as you can see, so you can actually reach straight to the back because now there's only like ½ an inch. To do this, I've modified the rails, and if you do this, you will void all warranty, so be warned. And I will say that the strength of the drawer when it's all the way out is a lot less than what it was, and when this has got paint in it, this is going to be quite bouncy. But this is only so if I need something at the back, I can drag it out a little bit further and actually reach rather than having to like try and get my arm under. And to do it, it's really, really simple. All you have to do is take out these rails off the side. So as you can see, this white piece of plastic here actually has 6 ball bearings located in each side. And when you pull this out, the ball bearings get stuck at this like little, like this essentially compressed metal part there. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up and we're going to drop out as many ball bearings as we like. So I'm going to be dropping out the entire set of 3 so that the drawer will actually move. Instead of stopping here, it's going to stop here. Now that gives us, you know, another 4 inches. So when I do want to access this second drawer with the Vallejo paints in, I can get all the way to the back. But what it does, it means that we need to keep some ball bearings in there to stop it all slipping out completely. All we're going to do is a little bit of jerry rigging, some more grips on one side, some pliers on the other. You know, be professional. Just bend it out ever so slightly. And then what happens now is if we push it all the way, rather than that stopping, that's actually going to keep going. So we have to be careful not to pop them all out. As you can see, I'm going to just drop out these first 6 bearings. And I'm just going to roll that back in and then close it back up. Just using the pliers again. And then just to check. So now I'm going to leave it quite tight because then that'll like naturally stop me trying to pull it too far. And then when I do need to, I can pull it all the way. So now that goes the full distance. I said that it is a little bit weaker than it was before, but you know, if we want to access the back of the drawer, we need it to go a little bit further. Now you could buy new railings, that is true, but I'm lazy and I'm also tight, so I'm modifying the ones I've got. And then you just need to do the same on the other side. So now, let's say this one that comes out this far, this one comes out to, that is actually screwed in yet. This one will stop there, but you can pull it further if you really need to, and again, it does wobble a little bit, but the whole point is you're going to be using the front ones most of the time, but then if you really need to at the back, you can just go that a little bit further. And then the same for this one. So I just need to screw this drawer in, then it's ready to start putting paint in it. Before we arrange this excellent ultimate hobby storage system that I've built, let's hear a word from Flexispot. Just over 5 years ago, I was actually in a car accident. I have like severe back problems and I've had them ever since. Like my back cracks like nobody's business and just usually constant pain. But my job is to sit and create videos like I'm creating for you now, or it's to paint Warhammer for videos that are upcoming, or just in my downtime, I play video games at this very desk. And I've been fantasizing with the idea of having a standing desk, which I'm using now. The Flexispot E7, which is the standing desk I'm using right now, is the perfect solution to upgrade anyone's work from home setup or general hobby setup. With its sturdy frame and sleek design, the E7 standing desk is not only practical, but also a stylish addition to any office or home workspace. One setup, with a push of a button, you can go from standing like me, or we can return to sitting down like this. And the motors are pretty quiet. You can't actually hear them. Yes, I've got some compression on this microphone, but the motors are quite quiet and they're pretty good. And I've got them set up. So you've got like 4 settings that you can set up so they go to set ones, or you can slightly adjust it going up and down. Obviously this is an advert, but I don't like promoting products that I don't enjoy or I don't consider using myself. But this is something I've been thinking about getting for a while, and Flexispot came in clutch at the right time and sorted me out. But I'm very happy to be working with Flexispot, so make sure you check out all the links in the description if you would like to get any of their products I'm using today. So I've got the E7, I've got the CPU holder, I've got the cable tidy, which I definitely need to finish sorting out because it is not tidy right now. But otherwise, thank you very much for Flexispot for sponsoring the video, and let's get back to paint storage solutions. So then it's just a case of once you've found the place you want it to start filling it up. As you can see in the top, I'm using the rails for the Citadel paint, and this works perfectly. Washers, contrast, any size bottle, they all do fit in this size drawer, which is really, really nice. And then in the next drawer, obviously we've got these ones at an angle. So this is all for my dropper bottles, whether it's Army Painter, Vallejo, 2 thin coats, or even my inks at the back. The inks fit quite well, which is quite nice. And then I'm using the space at the back, which I haven't got any rails in or any system in there. Just to store paint, whether this is paint that I don't really use very often, or it's spare paint for when one runs out. I'm putting it all at the back out the way. So I don't have like 5 gory... Well, I do have like 5 gory reds that I use for my Blood Ravens all together. But like, I'm putting all the spare paint right at the back. But this is just one way to use these drawers. Another way you can use them is printing grids like this with a 3D printer if you have one like I do. And then taking it and printing a whole grid system that you can put in here, like so, and fill up an entire drawer and print off boxes that have perfect grid systems. So they lock in like this. So I've got one for all of my pigments. I've got one for all my little painting handles. I've got one for my makeup brushes, makeup sponges, for my oil paints. And these have like a grid system, so when they're in there, they don't slide around, which is really, really good. I'll leave a link to the STL in the description. So then in these drawers, in the top, I've got all of my Citadel paints, and if I need to pull it further, I've got all my spare ones at the back. So this is ones that I've just accumulated over the years that I don't actually use very much. Or they're just, I've bought 2 because we all do that. We look for a red and then we go to the shop, we're like, oh, I need that color, and then we realize we have one already. And I've got my spare strips if I need to add any more drawers in there. And in this one, I got all my Vallejo bottles or dropper bottles. So I've got Vallejo, Army Painter, my Pro Acryl over here. I've got my inks across the back, and then again a couple of spares and a bit more spare wood if I need it. In the third one, I've got my washers, and I'm going to be putting my contrast paints in here as well. So I've got all my Citadel washers, I've got my Army Painter inks, I've got my speed paints, instant paint things, and then I've got contrast, which again, they need to go in here. In this one, this is a range of stuff that I still need to sort. In this one, my grid system, which I'm going to be printing more boxes for, lots of different things out of this one. And then finally, same in here, I'm going to be doing the same. This is all my basic material, all contained in a nice drawer system, which is really nice. So there you go. That is the ultimate hobby storage system that I'm using from now on, and I'm really, really happy with it. Like you take before, there's obviously loads of stuff everywhere, and obviously, you know, a tidy up would have helped loads, but now I've got all this workspace like just next to where I'm sat, which is really, really good. I've currently got my Ossiarch Bone Reapers on there, but what would you put on there? Do let me know down in the comments, because I thrive off engagement because I'm entitled. But also just having everything in a drawer next to me, it's really easy just to sit next to me, pull the drawer out, get what I need, put it away, have a couple of paints next to me, and then it's very convenient to put them all back, and just everything having its own space. You know, maybe it's just nice to have it just there within reach, which is always the biggest problem. So hopefully you've taken something from this, whether that's just a better system for storing your paints, or it's because you're interested in getting a cool standing desk. Oh, I stood up too fast. Just like this one by Flexispot, and thank you again to Flexispot for sponsoring this video. I'm really, really chuffed with this. I'm especially chuffed with that because I did this, but this just came at the right time, and as you can tell, that does not get old. It is very, very fun. So thank you very much for watching. If you want to support the channel, you could become a member by clicking join down below. It really supports me. It helps make videos like this possible because they're not exactly cheap. But otherwise, if you can't do that, that is totally fine. You can just click the like button, and we can keep going up and down and having a great time. So click like, leave a comment which is your favorite bit of the new hobby setup. Thanks for joining my hobby setup that turned from paint stories to hobby room to everything, and bye.